Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and today I want to offer an apology to the foreign detective. He has his new book coming out today, and I kind of slammed him. Well, I majorly slammed him the other day. I'll link that below so you don't think I'm hiding that video. When he came out and did this promo for the book, I'd call it a publicity stunt. It didn't sit well with me. I like a person to come out, use their real name, say who they are, how they got their information. And he came out in this outfit and a mask, and I guess it was to get people's attention. I'm going to say, didn't work for me. And so I said in my other video, hey, I'm going to read this book, so you might not have to. Because it's an 800-page book, and he doesn't believe in the timeline that Gonzalo Amaral and I believe in, that Madeleine died on May 3rd. That's what evidence points to. He believes it was earlier. He believes May 2nd. I'll get to that in a minute. So, and he said he knew where her body was. And I thought these were claims that were maybe over the top for me at that point in time. And so I put out the video, and he responded to my video. And sent me an email, and I'm not going to go into the details because I said I wouldn't. But he said, "Hey, Pat," he said, "why'd you put that video up? You know who I am." And I'm like, "I do." And apparently, we had communications years ago. And I don't know, when I say years ago, it could be 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, 6 years. I just don't remember. And it is true, we did. It wasn't a long communication. I didn't know his real name even then. I know we had a little back and forth, and I said, well, I kind of don't buy what your theory is. But I guess he was correct. I had sort of known him. But please understand that I get so much stuff that comes in, and I'm doing so much work that a lot of times I don't remember things that happened 4 years ago or who contacted me. And it goes in my head and out. But he was correct. We had that conversation. And he asked me, why I had this attitude. And I said, well, frankly, the costume doesn't work for me. It makes me think that you're trying to sell something rather than the truth that is on your shirt. And so we did continue to communicate. And I said, I told him, I'll be willing to review your book. And I'll be fair. You already know that I come from a different point of view on the timeline, and I have a different view where I think her body might be. But hey, I'll be fair because I always believe there can be more than one theory. And if you're profiling correctly, profiling should be done during the investigative stage, which means, let's say we were both working on the investigation. And I said, hey, I think this, here's my reasoning for that. And he says, oh, I think that, this is my reasoning. We might evaluate those reasonings with a team and say, okay, let's go this way or that way. Let's put 60% here and 40% here. But we might go both directions until we find more evidence and find out which direction was more maybe accurate or more useful. Because I don't mind other opinions and other profiles of a crime. I don't agree, for example, with every single thing Gonzalo Amaral said. I'm sure he thinks the same of me. Most of it, yes, but there are things that I'm like, I don't think so. My opinion, his opinion. And until we have the actual final proof, we may never know whose opinion is correct. So I don't have objections to other opinions. Now, mind you, one of the reasons I was probably a little rough when he came out was in the beginning of this whole McCann saga. When Gonzalo Amaral's book came out, pretty much everybody who thought the McCanns might have something to do with this disappearance of Madeleine came out and said 100% supportive of Gonzalo Amaral. Everything, he's great, he's great, he's great. Later on, I came out with my book, which, by the way, I have temporarily taken off the market. It will be back in 3 weeks because I want to update it. I was planning to do an audio for YouTube of the book. And when I started reading it, I thought it needed a lot of editing. I'm like, oh, this is kind of terrible. not the information, but the writing from 2011, not so good. So I'm like, I got to fix this. And I wanted to add in all the new stuff since 2011. And I wanted to add in links. So I've pulled it. It'll be back in a few weeks. But But what happened was when I put my book out, everybody was pretty positive about that. Then time went on and new theories came up how Madeleine didn't come to an accident on May 3rd, that it was earlier. And then it became there was the photo that people said was a fake, a photo photoshopped, and then they had all these other ideas. And the date became May 2nd, then it became a half a week before. And there were all kinds of what I thought kind of crazy theories. And I spoke up about those theories. And I said, look, you're all going off on all kinds of crazy this way and that, not based on evidence, coming up with, it's because Jerry's part of the Masons and the whole government's involved and just all kinds of child sex rings. And I spoke up against that and said, look, let's keep it simple. Let's stay with the evidence. And a lot of people took offense to that. And I got all kinds of hate. And I was on a website that used to promote my theories. And all of a sudden they just booted me off the website. It was interesting. It's like, wow, because I wouldn't go with the earlier death. Now, he does believe something happened to Madeleine on May 2nd. And I've seen part of what he said. I'm going to link below a clip that he sent me, which is public. And it is a little bit about what's in the book. And I thought he presented it very well. And this is him without the getup, okay? Without the getup. And I thought the presentation was very good. And I'm curious about the rest of his book. And we discussed this. And I said, look, I will do a fair review. I might still disagree with you, but if you have good information and some really good ideas, I will present that. And I will say where I differ if I do. And so I was quite impressed. He was very friendly toward me. We had some good laughs together, and he is sending me a copy of his book. And he said, here, I'm going to send it to you so you can look at it and see what my theories are. And I'm impressed. I'm impressed with that because it's hard for people who have different theories to be willing to have somebody look at them who they think might not be positive toward them. So I give him credit on that, or him without the mask. I actually think he seems like a really fun guy because we've had some good conversations since then. And I rather like him. If I ever show up in his area, I'll go have a beer. What will I think of his book? I don't know. Let me just show you just a couple things from the book that I'm going to put with a clip below so you can see what he's about. And this came out. This was on Twitter. From Madeleine Case tweets, the foreign detective is no longer masked and reveals himself. And I'm not using his name here, though he did tell me what it was, just because I haven't seen it elsewhere. And so this guy named Craig, who is going to meet up with him afterwards, after he did this slideshow, and ask questions we have lined up. We will be getting copies of the book, although the foreign detective has told me some details. It's all too little for me to pass judgment until I read it. That's very well spoken. And then this one, the Craig Campbell comes out and he says, the foreign detective has stated he believes Madeleine's remains are located at an area he calls Spot 5 on the Roja Negra. And it's that location. Now, I do not yet know exactly why he believes her body is there. I don't know yet. My investigation when I was in Praia-da-Luz, and from what I see, if I had to come up with a place, I come up with this place. It is west of Praia-da-Luz. It's just a speck north of Boudens. It's where Jerry's phone pinged along the way. And it is a kind of desolate place right off the main road. And it's like all this bush and dirt and stuff. And I think there's some windmills in the distance, but it is a great place. You could just pull your car off. Nobody's there. You could dig a hole for a long time, put a body in it. And the land is still exactly looks like that today. And after all these years, I don't know what the land is exactly. Maybe government protected, unless they go and put a housing collection there and they start digging up the land. I doubt they would find her body there if it were there. His location is a little bit more specific, and I guess you could just walk up there with a metal detector and a shovel, and maybe you could dig up a body. Is he correct? I don't know. Am I correct? I don't know. we have differing opinions of where we think the body might be if the McCanns were involved in moving her body. So I'm really looking forward to finding out how he puts her body in that location. And I don't know. So maybe I'll find out when I read his book. Let me see what this, oh, that's my picture. This. And he has things in his book, and he does a lot of statement analysis. It's not necessarily his profession as far as I can see, but he has some interesting things to say. We should listen to Kate's words. And I'm not going to get into all that right now. And I say the same thing. I didn't put my book out until after I read Kate's book, Madeleine, because then I had 100% Kate's words. And I found that very, very interesting. I stick very strongly with the May 3rd. I am not convinced yet it's the May 2nd that she went missing, and that the whole May 3rd thing was staged from the beginning of the day, as opposed to just in the evening when they'd already gone to the tapas and something went wrong, and then insanity ensued and something had to be done. He believes that it happened the day before or night before. I don't have the details yet, and therefore the whole next day they were planning and staging everything. I will see whether he can convince me. If he can't, it'll be a differing opinion. As Patrick Swayze says in Roadhouse, opinions vary, and he has the right to an opinion. And so I'm looking forward to getting the book. Thank you for sending it to me. I am looking forward to it. It is 800 pages. I wish it were a smaller book. I know he's very, very thorough. He's been doing so much stuff over the last, I think, 7 years. I don't know if he's going to get people to actually focus for 800 pages, unless it's really big writing and lots of pictures. Because I know when I do my videos that are 2 hours, everybody tells me, why the heck don't you get to the point in 15 minutes like Dr. Grande? Because I go through my thinking process, and some people don't care. They want, what do you know? Tell me now. 15 minutes. So I'm not sure how many people are going to read 800 pages, but I'm going to try my best. We'll see whether the 800 pages or a good portion of it can enlighten me as to why he thinks the timeline is incorrect, that Gonzalo Amaral and I believe, why it's one day earlier, why her body is buried where he thinks it is. And I'm really looking forward to actually reading it now. So I want to say again, apologies for our detective, because you're really kind of a nice guy. And I apologize. And so click on the link below, which has a little show that he's done. And then also I'll put the other video up where I went after him. So, I'm not hiding anything. But I think he's got a real good personality to be able to contact me in the pleasant way that he did. And I was impressed, very impressed. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this. New to the channel, please do like and subscribe. Hit the bell, because I will be having some notifications coming out on the Madeleine McCann case. I'm going to fix the book. I will then let you know when that happens. I will do the audio of my book. I will read it for YouTube. So if you don't want to buy it, you can just watch it, listen to it on YouTube. And I probably will do once I get through his book, a longer review of his book and our differing opinions, if we have them still. Maybe he'll convince me, I mean, I'm not always correct 99% of the time. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, we're all human, and I have my opinions based on how I profile and what the evidence shows me, but he might show me something different. So I'm looking forward to it. And I encourage you, if you can find, I don't know where the book is actually coming out of at the moment. It's in Portugal, I think, at the moment. He's sending it to me as a reviewer of the book. I'm not quite sure how one accesses it if you're outside of Portugal. So when I find that out, I let you all know, probably during one of my hangouts. Anyway, thank you for listening, and let's see what we learn from his book next time. Bye.